So today, just I believe before 2 o'clock this afternoon, officers were called to the 1900 block of West Penway Terrace in regard to a shooting. Upon arrival, officers located 3 parties who had been shot. 2 of those parties were pronounced deceased at the scene by EMS here. Another party is at an area hospital, I think listed last check, stable condition. A subject of interest has been identified in this case. We're not currently looking for any additional parties. Detectives and crime scene personnel have, of course, responded to the scene. As you can see behind me, it's very busy, it's very early. Things are very preliminary right now. But they're going to be here with crime scene, processing the scene for evidence, looking to speak to any witnesses, knocking on doors, looking for potential video. We are asking that if you were in this area and you have information, you can call the homicide unit at 816-234-5043. Or if you would like to remain anonymous, of course you have the option to do that with the TIPS hotline. That number is 816-474-TIPS. And I would like to remind everybody, of course, there is up to a $25,000 reward for information leading to an arrest in these homicide cases.
On the victims, do you have genders or just age range, if not exact age?
So what I can give you right now is we have a deceased female, a deceased male, and a male that is in stable condition.
And they're all adults?
We believe so.
And when we were here earlier, we witnessed police with guns drawn and shields out and a man coming out and being placed on a stretcher. Would he have been the non-fatal injured victim, or would he have been the subject of interest that you...
Well, we have 2 parties here that have been declared deceased at the scene. So I would say that's a safe assumption. I was not here when that happened.
I'm sorry, the man was alive, and he walked out of the...
and you said he was placed onto a stretcher?
Placed onto a stretcher.
I would assume that's the party that's been shot at the hospital.
Okay.
Is the person of interest the person in the hospital, or is that one of the victims?
I don't particularly have that information. Detectives are still working through that. They just advised that they have identified a subject of interest.
So they've identified a subject of interest, but is that person in your custody or still at large?
I don't know at this time. We're not looking for anybody additional, but further beyond the subject of interest being identified and not looking for any additional parties, that's the extent of the knowledge I have.
And did this happen inside a residence?
Yes,
outside?
inside a residence in the 1900 block of West Penway.
Do you have any motive at this point?
I don't. It's very early on. That's what the detectives will be looking for. They'll be speaking to people and talking to people in the area. So I don't have a motive at this time.
So all of the parties that were shot were inside the home?
Yes.
Were they known to each other?
It's still too early on to know. Yeah.
One of the things is and I wasn't here. One of our photographers was here who mentioned that the officers had their shields out and so forth. Seems somewhat unusual. That's not every time. Was there anything in particular about this that rose to an extra level of caution in terms of when you approached?
I can't speak to this situation particularly because I wasn't here and I don't have all that information. But I will say anytime we're responding to an active or a reported shooting, there's a need for extra caution. And I don't know what the circumstances were when they got here.
And I do realize that you're getting your information secondhand from the officers directly involved, so I apologize if you don't have the answer to this one either. But were the 911 calls coming from neighbors, or did someone inside the home seek assistance?
I don't have that information right now. That'll be part of the investigation for detectives. They go back and they listen to those phone calls.
Did you guys recover firearms in the home? Do you know what kind
I don't have any information about that right now. But they'll be processing the scene, looking for evidence such as firearms, Smith shell casings, anything like that.
This is the declared homicide, like you said. You know what the number is.
Did you the number?
Yeah.
So this would be 18 and 19 for 2021.
2 months into the new year.
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah,
it's fine.
No, I'm saying 2 months into the new year, we already had double digits. What is your thought process on that when you hear that number, outside of today?
So one thing I like to remember, or I like to kind of say when I get asked that question and remind people of, is no matter what the number, it's too many. And this isn't just a number, this is someone's family. And someone's life is forever changed from this moment today. And the detectives have to meet these families and deliver that terrible news. So yes, we don't like any number on that chart. And in my opinion, 1 is too many. So
this is not a neighborhood we often come to. I don't know. I know it can happen anywhere. It doesn't seem like a typical shooting neighborhood.
So I'm not familiar with the crime statistics of this neighborhood in particular. But yeah, that is true that, as we know, crime can occur any place in the city. Anything else, guys? All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your patience.
Donna, will you be providing updates throughout the day if you gain any additional information?
If I receive any,
Okay.
yes.
Just some of the, whether the 911 call came from inside or outside.
Now, I would say that part is called part of their investigation.
Oh, it is? Okay.
So
okay.
that I probably
I thought
wouldn't
that
be
might
able
be
to.
early on.
I probably wouldn't be given that.
How about at least, do we know when I see that they're still processing everything? Person in the hospital
Oh, I don't know. I don't have ages. At this time, I think they're all adults. I was just told a person of interest has been identified, and that no one, they're not looking for anyone else. Yeah, I would say we probably wouldn't be today that I would get that info. It probably won't be tomorrow. I would say it's going to be probably tomorrow.
No, I get that.
No.